Good evening. I was thinking today about how when you get up, sometimes when the sun is shining and everything seems to be going perfectly, and all of a sudden some clouds blow in, the wind comes up, changes to come out of the north instead of the south, and suddenly it's cold, and everything just doesn't mesh. It's like the gears that were set up to go really smoothly, they suddenly aren't meshing and the wheels aren't turning. So when things go wrong, what do you do? Sometimes we buckle down and work harder. But I'm coming to you today from Dancing with Ease, Body Brain Balance. I'm Laura Donnelly, and today is Strange and Interesting Times. I have another suggestion that, there's a saying, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. But I like to to do that. I like to turn it around. I like to use my energy and turn it around. But the process I use to do that now is different than I used to use. So before, if things had been going okay, pretty smoothly, and then suddenly there was a little hiccup and they weren't working right, I would just do what I had been doing before, more and harder. So there's another saying for that, which is, goes something like, the definition of crazy is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different outcome. So how do you put these two things together? You don't want to be a quitter. You don't want to give up too soon. You don't want to not give it your best effort. But at the same time, if your best effort is not producing the result you want and you keep doing that effort over and over, it's going to keep producing the effort you don't want or the result you don't want, and probably the effort you don't want to. So I do this thing I call scanning for ease. I check through my body where seems a little bit easier. And this takes me out of the loop, takes me out of the feedback loop, takes me out of the frustration that things aren't going right. And it takes me out of the expectation of what should happen. And it gives me a little pause, a little space. And in that ease in my system, ease anywhere is ease everywhere. That shifts my thinking. It shifts my energy, and it makes a space for me to come up with a new idea or a new approach, a way to do something differently. And I like to say that in these strange and interesting times, a lot of stuff that used to happen automatically, easily, that doesn't happen automatically and easily now. And this can be really frustrating. Now, I have the DMV, where we get the Department of Motor Vehicles, where we get our licenses. Okay, so this where I live, it's been run hideously since I moved here for 6 years. I lived in New York City, and it wasn't as bad as it is here to get your license. Arizona, they had a shortcut. They gave you your license for 20 years. Oh yeah, like anybody looks like they looked 20 years ago. Not. But you don't have to go to the DMV every 3 or 4 years and renew your license. So that saved everybody a lot of time and stress. But here, I mean, this is a small town, okay? Like it thinks it's 50,000 people, but hey, Donita, how are you? I don't see it. I don't see it in the shopping. I don't see it in the type of stores that are available. I don't see it in the quality of fine restaurants that are available. I don't see it in how, if there was 50,000 people here paying taxes, we should have better roads. We should have better ways to get from here to there. But all that aside, the DMV, no, terrible. So we got COVID, and you have to sign up online now. You can have a specific appointment. So instead of showing up at 1 in the afternoon and hoping you get your license done by 4 in the afternoon. You go online and you say, I'm going to come in on Friday at 3:30. And they send you back a thing, says, great, we'll see you Friday at 3:30. Show up at 3:15 so we can get you in the door. Wear your mask, do all that. Well, I did that. I paid my appointment. Other places in the state are saying make your appointment early because everybody's backed up until December 1st. And, if your thing expires, you're in big trouble. Yeah, we had a bazillion appointments. So I picked the day I wanted. I went. There was more staff in the building than there were patrons, right? There was one person finishing up when I came in the door. So we did the little check boxes, and I had my mask on and everything. But then I had to take my mask off because it's a driver's license photo and we don't want photos with masks on, right? Excellent. Okay. So this was all just fine. I was out in 15 minutes. And on the way out the door, because it is me, I said to the lady, I said, you guys are completely outed. You never need a room full of people waiting, getting angrier and angrier. I said, you have proved that you can run your office on time. So this is a bonus for COVID, really big bonus. Doctors' offices too. No stacked up people in the waiting room because they don't want people in the waiting room. So they're putting people on a schedule and they're staying on schedule. Unless, of course, the doctor gets called to the hospital for an emergency. That's a different thing. But all of these things that we, in the olden days, I like to say pre-COVID is the olden days. PC, right? Pre-COVID. Anyway, the doctors, they just stacked up their waiting room and you just sat in there with everybody, whether they were sick or well or whatever, and waited for your doctor's appointment. And if you got in 30 minutes, you thought you were lucky and that they were running pretty close to schedule. But they have shown that they can run on schedule. So this, for me, in my book, is a bonus from the COVID times. Except my husband had to renew his license. So we made him an appointment. I did it on my phone. It didn't go exactly right. So I made a second. Well, I went to check if it was there to see if the time was gone, because since I'll only take one appointment at one time, I figured the time would be gone. The time was there, so I'm like confused. So I made the appointment again, but then I called the office and I said, hey, I think I made 2 appointments. Can you, check? She checked, oh, you do have 2, but I'll cross out the one. I said, perfect. So we got it all set up. Friday, 4 in the afternoon, no problem. No problem. I'd swear to him, I'm telling him, because he doesn't like to go. He's had bad, worse than me experiences with the DMV. So I'm saying it's really different. I'm telling you, it's like practically perfect. I called on the phone and the lady was polite, and he gets there, they're closed. They close at noon. They didn't answer. They didn't announce. They had all these appointments scheduled. They had everybody's cell number. They could have texted everybody. Did they text anybody? My tax dollars not working. Government office with at least 5 people who work in the office. So even if one person has an emergency and has to go home, they have to shut the whole office? Seriously? This is still like on the burner to be resolved. But when things go wrong, what do you do? Well, he texted me. That was great. Thank you. Sharing the wrong with me. And I called the DMV and the head of the state, and I found out that now, because they didn't notify him, whenever he shows up, they have to put him to the front of the line. So that's a minor compensation. But I did leave a long message, recorded message. And I asked them to give it to the governor because I said, she's not doing a good job. If one of her downline offices can close and not tell anybody, not reschedule the appointments, not tell the head office why, so that when people call the head office and say, what the heck, I made my appointment, I'm here, nobody's here, the head office has to say, we just got a message saying they were closing early today. It's the day before Halloween. I'm like, seriously? Halloween is not a holiday. Well, it's a holiday. It's not a state paid time off holiday. So I was frustrated. I called the lady. I'm on the phone. I scan for ease. And I say, I need a solution. I need a good solution. I also need to complain to somebody and know that it's heard, because this is not how a good government operates. I said, it's not that people can't change, but to change without notification, that's rude. It's rude. And it's rude to the people who are the agency's funders and employers. That agency works for us. We don't work for it. So that's an interesting. She was like, "Oh, you're really right about that." I said, "Well, tell your supervisor she can call me because I'll talk to her about it, because things shouldn't go worse than they have to, but they sometimes do." So then I keep scanning for ease. Hey, Dinah. This is why we're friends, right? So I keep scanning for ease, because if I get mad and I'm mad at this person who answered the phone, that doesn't help, because she's not the one who closed the office. It's not her fault, and she's not the one who can open the office, but she did give me some information, which is this thing about getting to the front of the line, rescheduling at the first opportunity. So I have some good solutions, and I still have to come back for ease, because the whole concept of this office that is there to provide a service just closing willy-nilly whenever they want. And of course, I scared the lady, because I said, okay, does somebody have COVID? Because if somebody has COVID, everybody needs to know who was in there over the last 3 or 4 days. I said, and then this is going to cause a real, now we weren't in there, so we don't have to worry about that. But what is the only other reason? Okay, plumbing break? That might be a problem. Put a sign on the door so that at least people know. We had a massive break in the plumbing line, and we had to close the office. So scanning for ease. None of this changes anything. None of this changes the fact that I tried to help my husband, and I tried to convince him that the DMV was a better place, and his whole experience is that the DMV is still a cluster, just like it always was. Darn. I can't change it. But I can take care of me. And when I take care of me, I get just a little bit healthier every time I scan for ease. So I set up a fun thing where I will email you a picture of probably Kansas, because that's where I am, of the sky or the horizon, something that is open and spacious and inspires an idea of ease, and a quote. I'll send one every day for 30 days of ease. And if you think that it would be fun to explore that, I put the link up in the description. I actually remembered to put the link in the description. And you can click that and sign up. And I'll email you this every day. It's free. It's fun. It takes probably about however long it takes to read a sentence, like 5 seconds or something. And then that thought might come back to you during the day. It might not, but it might. And you might find yourself, when confronted with something that is stressful or problematic or out of sync and doesn't work quite right, you might discover that it pops into your mind, oh, what if I paused a second and thought about ease? And then you see what happens. And at the end of the month, maybe we'll do another live, and everybody can report on their experiment, about how their experiment went, because, it's all an experiment, and it's pretty fun to see what happens. So great, Donita. Just click that link up there, and you will hear from me every day. I have to go and pick the first one. I'll probably set it up so it's in your email box in the morning early after tomorrow. Tomorrow, I have to get started. And it is me, and it is technology. And so I have to scan for ease over and over. Like if in thinking technology, I say ease, technology, ease. Because if I start to think about technology, I start to go very fast. I start to get excited and nervous. It's going to ease. I can be happy. I can be excited. I can be easy. And I can deal with technology. So that was day 202 of Strange and Interesting Times. I'll see you tomorrow and have a great evening.